One of the reasons why alcohol use disorder is so prevalent in our society and why we have to suffer this malady in families and in individuals is because alcohol itself is so accessible. I mean, it's everywhere. You can go to the gas station and get it. You can go to the grocery store and get it. It's certainly in the state that I live, and I know there's many states that you can't. And if this is the first time seeing me, well, a lot of this page I talk about my wife, who unfortunately passed away from alcohol use disorder a little over 4.5 years ago. Now, one of the things I used to do to try and stop her, I used to go around, there was a CVS and there was a grocery store. And I used to talk to the managers and show her a picture. And I used to say, please, she's an alcoholic. She's got 4 DUIs, and our family is trying to stop her from having accessibility to alcohol. Will you please stop selling her? And I went to the grocery store, did the same thing. And they said, unfortunately, there's nothing we can do. She's over 21, and unless she's openly inebriated and causing a scene or some kind of situation, we have to sell her alcohol. There's nothing we can't stop her from buying alcohol. And it was such a lonely feeling that there was no one there in my corner to help me in any way, shape, or form. I was alone, and it was a battle that I was going to have to do by myself to try and stop her accessibility. Personally, I think there should be more checks and balances in place. We need to stop selling alcohol to people who are dying from alcohol, from people who are getting behind the seat of a car and deciding to drive inebriated. We need to stop this. I think we should have a designation at the very minimum on people's driver's license that if they've had 2 or more DUIs, that they no longer have the ability or the right to purchase alcohol in this country. And it could permeate into other countries. We need to have some kind of checks and balances. Is that going to stop it? Of course it's not. But it will bring the people who make alcohol and the people who distribute alcohol into the conversation and make them palpable for the selling of alcohol. Maybe somebody else needs to come into the conversation. Is this going to piss off a lot of people? I hope it does. Because if it's your wife or your son or your husband or your daughter or a friend or a relative that's dying from this, and there's nobody in society that's on your side, you're going to wish there was. And this is why this concept has to be revisited. And on that note, alcoholics are going to get alcohol anyway, anyhow. People ask me all the time, well, how did she get alcohol? Where did it get from? Were you buying it for her? Then they look at the family like they're the ones that are enabling or something, which is doubly insulting because we do everything that's humanly possible to get them away from the alcohol. And yet my wife used to sell things on eBay to get money, jewelry, so she could go buy money, an Uber. She would order her own credit cards. You can't stop people from doing that. And sometimes she would outright steal it. I've talked about that. She actually, I don't want to get into it a whole lot, but she dipped into my son's college fund without us knowing, which is a big part of it. And then you find there's Ubers and the biggest bane of my existence was really DoorDash. When near the end, when I was coming home and finding cases of beer on the front door, it was exasperating to say the least. When there's nothing you can do as a family member to get your spouse, your loved one, out of harm's way, and no one and nothing is assisting you. I don't know, maybe the people who sell alcohol should be palpable, culpable for people who, buy the alcohol and get in an accident or get a DUI. Where do we get it from? Maybe we need to have a paper trail of where these people are getting the alcohol from and say, where'd you get this from? I know that sounds crazy, but we've got to have a conversation about this. We have to have some kind of checks and balances. It's just this wanton drug that's available all over the world, and alcohol is a drug. Kills more people and destroys more families than all the other drugs combined times 10. And yet it's on every corner, every street corner, anywhere you go. I have clients that live in like London or in Dublin or in Finland. They to go to work, they have to walk past 10 pubs. If you live in a cosmopolitan area, it's crazy. It's everywhere. And this is why alcohol use disorder is so prevalent, because the alcohol itself is so accessible and there's no checks and balances. I also understand there are dry parts of this country and this world. Ironically, Jack Daniels is produced in Moore County in Lynchburg, Tennessee, and that's actually a dry county. Yeah, ironically. And if you go there and you go for a tour at Jack Daniels, they'll sell you I guess they call it a bottle for to take home, but it's the bottle that you're buying, and then the bottle costs $20, but the whiskey inside is free. So that's how they go around that little loophole. I mean, it's amazing the creativity in getting it distributed. It needs to be discussed. It's a problem. We lose 16,000 people a year, innocent men, women, and children from drunk drivers. And we lose somewhere in between 180 and 185,000 people to alcohol use disorder in natural ways. And that doesn't even include the billions that we use in productivity. It's a big issue and it needs to be addressed. Families need help from society at the very least. And this is really part of my long-term message, quite frankly, is to get society to become part of the conversation. Again, on that note, my wife's book, it's called Amanda, A Cautionary Tale of Alcoholism. It's out now. It's on Amazon. It's also on my link in my link tree. You can go right to my link tree, go to the website, and the PayPal button is right there. As soon as you order it, they'll be sent out. There's no more pre-orders because it's already out. Also, you can find it on Amazon, and it will be on Barnes & Noble on an ebook form in about 2 weeks. And I'll tell you further about actually having an audio book probably next year. On that note, I also go live Monday through Friday right around 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock Pacific time. And we have the Facebook group called There's an Alcoholic in the Family. Link is in the bio. And I have a coaching program with the same name. Set up a breakthrough call. Takes about 45 minutes to an hour. The call is free. The course is definitely not. Set up a call if you're interested in a course in changing your life and the life of your family. And again, thanks so much for listening.